We have a new Pope, Pope Leo the 14th. As people know, I'm a hardline track SSPXer, kind of some seed leanings, to put it mildly. So a lot of people are probably wondering, what do I think of Pope Leo the 14th, and what I think this means for the future of the Church, SSPX, Seeds, Fraternity of St. Peter, etc. I'm going to be brutally honest. I know squat about the guy. Most what I know is what people online on social media have been saying. So most people are probably more well informed about who he is than myself. That being said, from what I have heard, again, I want to give a disclaimer about where I'm getting my information, random people on the internet, what people are saying. I thought I'd give a short analysis of what I think he is going to be like as a pope. More or less, stay the course. More or less, I think he's going to stay the course, what Pope Francis did, what Pope Francis was doing. He's not going to be too different. I think he might be a little bit more conservative, not by a whole lot, but maybe a little bit more. He's also a liberal on immigration. Now, I do want to address some things that I do want to address some of his known leftist biases, and I actually agree with him, with Leo the 14th on these issues. I am somewhat, I wouldn't say I'm a liberal in immigration, but I would say more of a moderate. I do think that you need to have secure borders. I personally agree with Donald Trump that he needs to build that wall with Mexico. You have tons of people coming in illegally, and that is unsafe, both for people who are already in the United States of America, as they don't know who's coming in. It could be a person just looking for a better life. It could be a person bringing drugs. You don't know, and a lot of times it is the cartels who traffic people in, even if people they're trafficking in are volunteering and just want to move to the United States for a better life. So I definitely agree with building the wall. On the other hand, I definitely have to agree with what Pope Francis criticized Donald Trump and his administration for, as far as his deportation policies. Like randomly going after people who have lived their entire life in the United States, who are American, and all except the fact that someone forgot to rubber stamp their paper. That's insane. That is insane. That is not a security issue. And the Catholic Church, as quoted by Pope Francis in his encyclical on the matter, previous popes have always supported the immigrant and the migrant, especially in the context was into the United States, as in people bringing in. The popes have supported the foreigners coming into the United States in the past, bringing their culture and their language, and they said, yeah, let's make sure these people have access to confessors in their language, and that they have rights and are treated properly, and that there's special advocacy for these people. Rerum Novarum also condemns exploitation of the poor. This is something that a lot of tradcasts, especially Americans, who I think, my personal opinion, again, this is one of the reasons I am a critic of the United States, is that a lot of American tradcasts forget that there is such a thing as legitimate Orthodox Catholic social teaching as far as preferential options for the poor go. Read Rerum Novarum, written pre-Vatican II. That is Catholic teaching. And I spoke with American Catholics, tradcasts online, who said, oh, I don't need to believe in Rerum Novarum. It's not required. It's a teaching of the Pope on matters of faith and morals, in his capacity as Pope. Yes, you do. It's not heresy. Even the most hardline Civicantists will recognize Pius XII and all the popes before him. Leo XIII is universally recognized, has been for centuries. He is Pope. Leo XIII was the Pope, and his teachings was authentic. So I'm very much of the opinion that that as far as a leftist stance on immigration, I think that's a good thing with Leo XIV. Not that there can't be nuances. I absolutely agree with that. But compared to what's going on in the United States, considering what's going on there with their approach for how so many American Trackists are abandoning legitimate Catholic social teaching on protections for the poor, on the immigrant, which are Catholic teaching. I think that's a good thing, and I think that he should call out Catholics and Trackists and the American government and other people too on that matter. Now, some other areas which I have heard concern, other areas of concern are his questions about, is he going to suppress the traditional Latin Mass? I've heard some positive approach attitudes towards him online, things such as, I've heard people comment on how he came out in more traditional vestments on the balcony. Yeah, we'll see what that signals. He's also expressed hardline stances on traditional. He's also expressed traditional positions on abortion, homosexuality, etc., etc. All of which I think is a good thing. Now, what does that mean in practice is going to be another matter. Is he going to, for example, retract or overturn fiducia supplicans in much the same way as Francis overturned Benedict XVI motu proprio on the Latin Mass? Is he going to scale back or revoke Traditio Custodes, or is he going to come at it harder? I admit I don't know. If you're from his Chicago diocese, was he going through the motions? Was he zealous against Latin Mass? I don't know. We'll certainly see. So I think it'll be more. I think my personal opinion of him on this matter, in very limited opinion, again, he was he was made a cardinal, and I think even a bishop, if I recall correctly, by Pope Francis. So that does not bode well for traditionalist perspective. Like, there was only a very small handful of traditionalist cardinals in the College of Cardinals. So it would take something for me. This is not a huge surprise. My personal take, he's somewhere between John Paul II and Pope Francis, is my personal analysis of the situation. So what do I think this is going to mean for Trackists going forward? For starters, my personal prediction is that Traditional Custodes will probably, for the foreseeable future, stay in place. Will be nice to see if he overturns fiducia supplicans, though I'm not betting on it. So like I said, it's very much a stay the course scenario. As for relations with the Society of St. Pius X, this is going to be very interesting. It's going to see how pastoral he is. Now, I'll say this as regards Pope Francis. He was a consistent modernist. He believed in being pastoral to Trackists regardless. Even though he was hardline with his own Latin Mass communities, which I think all he did was undermine himself, my honest opinion, he was also very generous with understanding towards the Society of St. Pius X. So for example, giving ordinary jurisdiction to the Society of St. Pius X. And this is going to be significant. So the question is he going to be the same manner as it is with the Society of St. Pius X? Look, the SSPX right now is the hardliners are, and in my opinion, should be in charge of the Society of St. Pius X, as it should be right now. There's a lot of things going on. So what I think the SSPX is going to ask to do is permission. They're going to have to ask in the next year or two, approach the Holy See saying, we want permission to ordain new bishops and just keep the status quo. A lot of people would not accept reconciliation in the Society of St. Pius X. The current leadership unless things drastically change in the Vatican, is not going to be interested in full-on reconciliation for obvious and good reasons. The question is, how is Leo XIV going to respond to this? Is he going to... I would like to see him stay the course. Or is he... So honestly, my opinion is going to be coin toss. Are we going to be back at square one with the negotiations with the Holy See? Which in some way is or is not desirable, depending how you look at it. Obviously, the most ideal option would be we have a traditionalist pope, things put right in the church, and the Society of St. Pius X just signs the documents because they're not needed anymore. Tradition is restored. That would be the ideal situation. I don't see that happening for the next few years, unless something drastic happens. Is he going to? So is he? But so is Leo the 14th going to say no? Do what I? Is he going to be a harsh with the Society of Saint Pius X? Is he not going to not negotiate a deal with them? Is he going to insist on no bishop approval unless you agree with everything I say except Vatican II, or is he going to say, we'll accept the status quo going forward? It's not going forward, and that's just going to be that's also a part of pastoral approach. I give it a 50-50 based on what I currently am aware of him. It's going to be interesting. My personal predictions for the SSPX will. And I would like to see it be proven wrong. Again, these are my predictions, not judging anyone. I personally think in the next few years it's going to be Holy SSPX is going to approach the Holy See for permission to ordain bishops. Hardline is going to be a hardline, and we're going to be back at square one with the next 2 or 3 years with the SSPX and the Vatican. Which is a mixed bag, honestly. I think it's necessary for right now. Unless things have really changed to the point where the SSPX is irrelevant, I don't think they should be making deals with Holy See. That's a simple fact. The either the Pope is a modernist or he's lost control. That's the only way you can interpret what's been going on the past few years. On the other hand, it would be nice if a reconciliation, if we were in that situation where SSPX was not needed and everything was put back in order, or the SSPX was or the Holy See wanted to use SSPX as a great tool to fight against modernism in the church and change things around. That would be great. And it would be great, and there are certain especially for more liberal-minded tradcasts, it would help allay their scruples about going to SSPX masses, but we'll see. That is my personal prediction of what is going to happen going forward. Anyway, so not a lot of thoughts. Honestly, it's stay the course is for Tradcast, which honestly is what I was expecting going in. Prevost, like everyone else, do we even need to Google that he is a hardline ecumenist like everyone else? Certainly not. Even most of the comparatively good, quote-unquote good, or even trad cardinals have been that way and have issues. Like even Rajanith, for example, I know was a hardline against the SSPX in Sri Lanka. I know from people speaking with people online who go to SSPX in Sri Lanka there, and that's how even they are. So honestly, stay the course. Not surprised, not disappointed. Well, a little bit disappointed. Again, I'll say this. Put it this way. I don't know of a single Civicontist who would not like there to be a full hardline traditionalist pope elected in a conclave who puts everything in order, and they could just validate his election and recognize him as pope. I do not know of a single Civicontist who does not want that. And I misspoke with many Civicontists, and that's basically their approach. Anyway, that's my analysis of Leo XIV, considering the fact I know squat about him. We would probably, if we sat down to lunch, we would probably despise each other over our theology on EENS and traditionalist issues in Latin Mass, but we would absolutely be politically aligned on immigration. That's my take on him if we ever were to meet. But anyway, God bless. Have a great day. Stay the course as Catholics faithful to tradition. Go to Church of Latin Mass and check on SSPX Chapel no matter what happens. And if anyone has any questions or topics you'd like me to address here, I make Holy Land videos while I'm here in Jerusalem, but I will also, and I plan on doing this more so, make videos on more Tradcath topics. Anyway, God bless. Have a great day.